very briefly, I would set off by saying one of the key certainties we see, and I believe is shared across the board, is we need to bring the Cuiv gas ashore for the benefit of our country and for the benefit of the local community. We as a country are exposed. We are dependent for imported fossil fuel energy for over 90% now of our energy needs. People at home who will open up their gas bill at any time are going to see a real shock in terms of the high gas prices and the effect it has. Developing the Cuiv gas project, bringing the gas ashore, will protect us and give us greater energy security and will help us in terms of bringing down gas prices and help, therefore, every household in this country meet their energy needs. It will also, at a time when state resources are stretched, bring in additional revenue to the exchequer, and that's not insignificant and not important. And it's important as well internationally that we're seen as a country where you can actually develop projects in a safe way, with the cooperation of the community, and in a way that gives developers confidence that can go on and develop other projects. And we need an energy revolution. And one of the aspects of the energy revolution I want to see is Mayo becoming a centre point of the development of a new energy future for Ireland. I want Mr. Cuiv will talk very much on the community aspects of this process, but I want to frame it within the energy future as I see it for North West Mayo, where we have committed to developing, the first point in this country, a wave tidal connection out to the sea, a grid connection. We want to develop the infrastructure, the electricity grid infrastructure, so we can tap into the wind power that exists in Mayo. If we can get our gas pipeline working in the area of Mayo, I want to add some new gas plant, or encourage the development of a new gas plant, which can work in tandem with those renewable variable resources. All those projects, along with the Cuiv gas project, have the potential to bring jobs, long-term, sustainable jobs into the Mayo area. But we can't develop that energy future unless we can get some sort of progress in terms of how we deliver infrastructure, how we work together, community, government, developers, to deliver that future. The Cuiv project is one project, an important one within that overall energy framework of development. What we're saying here is we want to change the paradigm, change the nature of the engagement, that government takes more central stage involvement. Not in reviewing or not in changing the consent process. Governments give consent on the basis of set legal rules. It's not for us to try and change that. But what we want is that consent process will continue with regard to future pipeline routes and so on. We are not changing or subverting or supplanting that consent process or the consent conditions that have already been given. But one of the things we do want to change is to provide government central stage in relation to community development, in relation to explaining aspects of that consent process, in relation to all the other issues, be it around policing, be it around environmental management, be it around the energy safety issues, the whole range of issues that people have concerns or questions about, for the government to go centre stage and try and answer and support the community in any concerns they have or questions they have in that regard, rather than seeing the developer being in the centre point of that discussion. In a sense, it is the government establishing a forum where such issues can be raised and hopefully be dealt with. Crucially, it also requires the government in making sure that there is a real benefit for the people of Mayo. I've set out what I see some of the benefits in terms of it being a hub of a whole new energy future for this country. Mr. Cuiv obviously has a much wider remit and interest in terms of the overall development of the rural community. I might hand over to him in that regard.
First of all, as all of you know, myself and Mr. Ryan, went down and we spent a day in Ballina. We met all of the groups that are involved locally in various aspects of and various views in relation to the project. And we spent a long day there, and any group that sought to meet us, we met them. And one thing became very apparent throughout the day, and that is that for a very small community, there were quite a considerable number of groups, and whereas they had different views in relation to the development of the gas project, I think it is fair to say that all of them believed that they were acting in the interest of the local area and that they had the interests of the local people at heart. It struck us that It was strange that the groups within the area weren't talking to each other and weren't trying to find a common ground of the development of their own area. And we felt that it might be useful to try to bring those community groups together, along with the state agencies and representation from the government, to try and see how the challenges facing North West Mayo might be met. And let us be honest about it, before ever the gas became an issue in North West Mayo, North West Mayo had suffered a huge amount in the past in terms of unemployment, immigration. And I think it's fair to say that a huge number of people in that area found themselves working in the cities of Britain and America because of the lack of development within the area. And therefore we felt that, we feel that if we could harness the huge energy in the area to common objectives in relation to development, in realising the potential of the area, that a huge amount of good could be done, and that this is a historic opportunity for the people of North West Mayo to realise their full potential, and that if please God out in the future, the young people in that area would not be forced to emigrate. The second thing that is of deep concern to me as Minister of Community is to see any community divided within itself. We do not want to see situations in communities up and down the country where there is internal division causing disharmony between neighbours. And again, I think it's important that the government will be seen to facilitating the coming together of the different views within the community in a constructive way, seeking out all the time the common ground and the common way forward for the betterment of the people. And I think that that is very important, because when the immediate difficulties are over, it will be a tragedy if this community was left with a legacy of division amongst the local neighbours living there. I had a lot of association with this area after the landslide, and I worked very closely with the people there. And what I feel is that there is a great goodwill on the ground to working together, to working in tandem as they did in that particular issue with the authorities at various levels for the common interest of the people. And what I think we need to do now is to harness that energy for the betterment of the area, and to come at a way of resolving issues within what Mr. Ryan has said, and that is that which is given legally is given legally. We must all abide by the rules and the laws and the constitution of the state. But that within that issues that might be raised could be mediated within the community and between the community and the various agencies on an immediate level, and that it can be done, as has happened in other communities, in a way that creates common ground, that reduces tensions, and that brings people together, and that satisfies people's concerns as far as that can be done.